Hi everyone, Angus Campbell here. Monday the 30th of May. Yep, and as you saw at the end of the last video, we have a power set interloper, the venerable Ariel 3. So, it's not mine. Got an arrangement with the owner to recommission this, but as you can see it's in pretty good condition, but was last on the road in 1979, and to accompany that tax disc we've got the MOT certificate as well. It has got a V5, so luckily we know the frame number, even though on these it's just the original sticker. The frame's not stamped, but it's pretty illegible. But it's a similar sticker that you see on the bigger bikes on the headstock, but of course the bigger bikes are also stamped properly elsewhere. But the stickers deteriorate, as you can see, and once you've lost those, if you haven't got a V5, you have a hell of a job registering them without a Q plate. Anyway, it does run, but not very well. It's original, unrestored, in remarkable condition, but you probably won't see it too well on the film, but it is grubby. So this is the before, and the first thing we're going to do is give it a good wash and clean up. This is the greeny colour, which is Everglade, and the other two colours were blue, which was Pacific, and the orange colour, I can't remember what it's called, it might be Sunburnt, but I'll find out, because I do have a parts book for one of these, and that lists the colours. It's got the optional, as you can see, rack and spare wheel, but as my wife says, why the hell would you have a spare wheel on this if, you know, general motorcycles don't have it? But anyway, it does. And also we do have a screen, but we'll come on to that, because there's a bit of a story with that, which was also an optional extra. The other optional extra which we haven't got is the bigger basket on the back for the shopping, and you could also get a multicoloured cover for the shopping to keep it dry as well. I'll show you the accessories leaflet that Motorpla produced for this as part of this video later on in the clip. But as I say, to you it probably looks gleaming, but it's not. If you go up, it's got this, as you can see, slightly grubby appearance on the white plastic, but the Everglade paint is hardly chipped, and a test polish has shown that it does come up pretty well. Right, let's do another clip then, and just show you the engine bay. So what we'll do before we do a walk round of this, of all its functions and features, let's give it a wash and brush up. The bright work on it is in fantastic condition. Something's happened a bit with the reflector or whatever on the headlight, but that's nothing, you can get those. But the chrome in general isn't pitted at all. The only thing is this is the light switch and horn switch. But other than that, pedal cranks, and even, if you like, the small bolts on the rack, etc., screws, etc., bright work's still all good. So anyway, we're going to treat it as a car really. So the first thing we'll do is give it a bit of body shampoo all over, and then we'll go inside the engine bay, which is in here. I'll show you how to do that in a minute, and if we need to, we'll degrease that. It's spitting with rain outside at the moment, but that doesn't matter, we'll give it a wash. Okay, first wash done, and she's coming up really well, and in fact the white will come up a bit better just yet. I don't know if you're able to see this in the sun, really. You can. So I've just tried a little bit of Jif on this because it was a bit grubby, and you can see clean area versus dirty. There's the line. Similarly down the bottom here, there's a better line. Where I've cleaned it and where I've not. With a tiny little bit of scourer. I mean, this is plastic, but it's got some sort of coat on it. I don't know. It's not a gel coat really. I'm not sure what it is. You can see where it's been scratched in places. But anyway, so it's got a few little scars, but nothing serious. But it's coming up really well. The spare wheel, it's all a bit rough, but that looks like casting to me rather than paint. And as I say, the chrome, there's just no pitching on the chrome. Yet the bright work's all still really good. As I say, the only thing is that switch, but we'll just probably take that apart and put a little bit of paint on that. Headlight's faded, you can see where that's broken, and it's white underneath rather than this yellowed. But yeah, coming up, so we'll keep going, and the intention is we'll see how we can get that white coating up, and then we'll put polish on that. The Everglade green, actually, that's on metal, so that is paint, and that's one or two little scratches on it, but nothing much. But that's coming up really well, and I've not even polished it yet. I'll probably take the rack off, which is just secured by 3 bolts on each side, and this wheel is slung on the underside of the rack, so that all comes off as one, so we can get at the top there, and then we can have a look inside and see what the state of the motor is. Right everyone, a couple of days later, after some just some general washing and cleaning, and it's coming up pretty well. But what we've determined is that this has had, probably quite a while ago, some form of light restoration, and that's because all the white plastics have been sprayed white, but it looked to be pretty good underneath. So whether they've done that rather than try and scrub them clean them, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure those white plastics should not be painted. And that was the whole idea of using them, because painting at the factory was quite a costly operation. I do think, and the jury's still out on this, I do think the Everglade green is original. I think it's been you know, had a bit of touch up here and there, but I think it's generally original, and that would be supported by the fact that we've still got the remnants of the VIN sticker here. You can read 1 or 2 bits of it, but luckily this is maintained its registration. It's got a V5, and therefore we do know what the frame number is, and that sticker was the only way of determining that. Without that, you have quite a big job of registering these if they haven't got a V5. The bright work, I think, is original. There are 1 or 2 little areas where there's a bit of pitting. This top bolt and washer had been painted silver, but underneath, actually getting that out, it was fine. Bit of pitting on the twist grip, but nothing drastic. Pedals and cranks are in very good condition. Just one end cap missing off this side. I think it's got it on the other side. Yeah, it has. The optional, this is the optional rack with spare wheel. The rack's definitely in its original paint. That would have been painted. I think I said in the early clip we weren't sure about this wheel and whether these were just casting marks. Well, they're not cast, they're pressed. So this has definitely been painted, I think, over the top of rust by the look of it, so that might be a hammerite job. But the other wheels are in very good condition. They may have been painted. I think they probably might have been, but certainly I think the hubs have. I thought the centre hubs here should be the same as the colour on the bike. But anyway, it's not, doesn't detract from it at all. The seat is in exceptional condition. Whether that's a replaced seat some years ago, I don't know, but it's perfect. Sometimes they can perish quite a lot. Headlights yellowed and is broken on the top, but and we've got some problems with the reflector, as I've said before, but these are readily available. I think they were fitted to other mopeds, so there's plenty of people advertising those as brand new. So we do have one on the way. You can see when it was last taxed on the road, 79. It probably has been on the road since then. It's already on the BSA Ariel 3 register with some photos with an earlier owner, I presume. No details with it, but there are photos on there. As I say, I think the Everglade green is original, and that's borne out by the fact that with the rear number plate here, it's still got, I think, its black stick-on backing, whereas at the front that should have had the same, but in this case this has been painted. Also, luckily, the original little BSA badge has been masked off, not quite to the right lines, but at least that's been saved, which is good. Now then, at the back, so as I say, this is an optional extra. You could also get a shopping basket, which I'd like, but I've never seen one with a shopping basket on top of this rack, only with the shopping basket on its own. And also you could also get from Multipler Accessories a cover for the shopping basket. That'd be quite interesting. We can try and get that. We do have a screen for this, and those came in 3 colours from Motorplan. This one's got a blue one, but it's new in box. I'll show you that at some point. This cover here is obviously a little footboard, as all scooters had at the time, but it also, you can take this off, and that exposes the chain wheel, the chain, and the 2 torsion bars in there. So we'll check if that chain is lubricated at some point. And at the back here, all this section hinges back to reveal the motor. That's the original petrol. It's not a cap, it's a stopper with 2 O-rings on it, and actually it's quite stiff, but you've got to take it off to lift this rear hatch to get at the engine. And I did it earlier on. I would imagine that some poor shopper on this, if they want to get some petrol, might have a bit of a job. Oh, blimey. There we go. That's it. 2 seals on it, so that's good. It's got a lot of petrol in it. And now I'll explain why I've got a 2p or a 10p coin, because the back hatch is held down by these plastic. They're effectively the equivalent of what I call Zeus fasteners. Some people call them Oddie clips, but you turn them 90 degrees to release. Now these are just about turned. I'm being careful with these. The coin, it suggests using a coin, which obviously people don't carry these days. Anyway, this was just post decimalisation of the 5 and 10p. I do have a 10p somewhere, but 2p's better. 2 on the top and 1 on each side. Now I know these need to be turned 90 degrees because they're fully engaged. I just want to be careful. You've got to pull the plastic out gently as well. There we go. So you can be very careful, otherwise you can crack these. And these little plastic Zeus fasteners, and I've not seen these anywhere for sale, so we've got to be blooming careful with them. There we are, that's a bit better. So we'll grease them up. There we are, right. Here she goes. So let's just put that down. I'm coming this side to open it. So she swings back on a couple of bolts, which act as hinges. And then just inside, we've got a car-tight rod, retaining rod. Apologies, I'm trying to do this two-handed. The reason why I don't want it to bang down is because she's going for a walk. Come on, please get in. Oh, that's the wrong hole. It should be up here. The whole lot's going for a walk. Got it. Sorry, I'll go through the controls in a minute. Let me just put the brake on. That's what I should have done before. There, that's better. It does work. Right. Just put that in before that goes everywhere. Three hands are always required when filming. There we have it. So first thing, you can see how there's use fasteners engaged. There's the other side. Same as on the bigger bikes with the metal ones. And there's the Anchor Laura motor. And everything's in there, including the cable retaining straps, the cowling around the fan, otherwise it won't cool properly. And one thing that's firstly noticeable is there's a cover missing here. That's the alternator side. I think there should be a cover over that. You can see where it used to be. I believe spares are readily available for these because these motors were put on other mopeds and they've been in production and quite well developed for a time, which is why BSA chose it in the end rather than use their own. I think they were going to use a Tina motor. The other side is where the drive is, but I won't show you at the moment. So this wheel, the left-hand wheel, is the only driven wheel. This is a freewheeler. I was just seeing if the rear brake was on this side. I don't think it is. Now also on this side, you can see down in there, there's a little cylinder with a tang on it, and that's pulled out and turned 90 degrees at the moment because that's put it in freewheel mode, so the engine's not engaged. But to engage drive, so you can pedal start the engine and obviously run it, is you need to turn that to engage dogs. So that's spring loaded. So yeah, this looks like the rear brake on this side. That's sticking a little bit, but it's not too bad. Right, control wise, so because I've pulled this out so the dogs are not engaged, this is effectively in neutral, which means I can pedal this forward. I think it's freewheel's rare, but you can pedal this without the engine. It's quite heavy to do that though, it's quite difficult. But if you adjust the seats and the bars right so you can get a decent force on it like a pedal cycle, then it's not too bad. So yeah, seat adjustable just like a bicycle. Handlebars are adjustable, although how, I'm not sure at the moment with respect to up and down, but obviously forward and back. By a clamp at the front here as always. Now, initially I got my interpretation of the controls was wrong. Everybody thinks that's the decompressor, but it's not. So I already had the little handbook and with my parts book set in 71 colours, and this is your effectively your choke, your enrichment lever. This is rear brake. Sorry, did you see my hand? Rear brake with lock on it, so that acts as your parking brake. You've got horn, lights on and off. There's no dip on this. And then on this side you've got your front brake, but also you've got two cables from the twist grip, and that's because if you turn this clockwise, I suppose, if you're looking from the end, that's your decompressor, that's your neutral, and then that's your throttle. So the idea is that to start this, you you twist the twist grip away, i.e. clockwise from this end. Start pedalling, pull the enrichment lever while you're pedalling. Once you're pedalling, then you put throttle on and then it fires. So we did have a run on this for a brief period at the BSA Owners Club rally, and at top end it runs well and it goes well enough, but at low end I don't think the clutch is disengaging. So on this side of the engine, which we can't see, in between the drive wheel and the engine, there is actually a centrifugal type clutch and a belt down to the axle. You can readily get the belts, that's okay, but I think the clutch is stuck at the moment. Right, oh excuse me sniffing, let's put this back down. Should be a bit easier now. Even got a little clip for it. Just put that down gently for a minute. I know the fuel cap's in, but that's all right, because I just want to show you at the rear then. Obviously we've got the little silencer, but there's the carb, and that's the main jet. And I think the main jet's slightly blocked as well. We were looking at that at the BSAOC, and I think it's blocked. So one of the first jobs will be just to take that carb off, which is easy enough. One clamp screw here, take off the slide and the petrol pipe, and the carb's off. So we'll do that. Here you can see the axle drive wheel with its belt down from the engine, and the clutch. I think that's about it. Rear lights under there. Oh, and it does have a fuel tap. It took us a while to find that. And there it is, and it's a push-pull tap. So there we go. So we'll do a few more jobs on it. So we'll take that carb off. We'll take this plate off so we can look at the chain, make sure that's all right. And the torsion bars, I believe the torsion bars are slightly adjustable, but on this it is standing up okay this end, so I think we're all right. We'll also see if we can clean this up and get the paint off and see what the plastic is like the original plastic's like underneath, and see if it'll clean up. I think it will. I think somebody's just been lazy. Right, there we go, a quick tour round. So we'll put this bonnet back on properly, and we'll take the carb off, get that stripped down, and we'll get the ultrasonic cleaner on. Right, there we are, carb off and stripped down. It took about 2 minutes. So here we've got the carb body, got the float bowl, slide cylinder, and then this is the where it clamps onto the inlet tube. Found that it hadn't been pushed on properly, so it was only halfway on. We've got the entrance here for the enrichment cable, which clips onto that tang there. So when you pull it, that flap goes over the intake. This big area here is where the air filter and its pipe up to the warm air from the engine attaches, and it's just clipped on onto that groove there, so that's dead easy. And then on this side we've got, that's the hole for the throttle stop screw that engages with the slide. There's no needle on this, just purely a slide with a jet in the bottom there, which you can't see very well. So that's for the throttle stop screw, and this is for basically your main jet, which is this two-piece item here. So this small jet screws into the end of that, and the whole lot then screws down into there. Simple float that includes the needle, so it effectively goes up and down on its spindle, but that acts as the needle on the top, which engages in there below the banjo for the fuel inlet. And then those are the two screws just to mount the top cap. There's a throttle stop screw. This appears to be a spacer that came off when I took the enrichment cable out off there. I think that just sits on there. So we'll get this lot into, well, certainly the metal pieces anyway, into the cleaner. You're supposed to wash this with petrol, but I'm glad it's there and in one piece. Some of these break, some of them don't have the tube. But we'll get all the metal pieces here without the gasket into the ultrasonic cleaner. Right, there we are, out of the parts washer, everything cleaned up. Jets have cleaned up nicely, and the small jet here, that was blocked. I think it pulled something through it, and that might explain why when we were trying to run it, we were having to pull the enrichment lever on all the time to get it to pick up from low revs. But that's now clear, and the float remained floating, which is good. Cleaned out the well, the air filter didn't need cleaning out at all, really. Cleaned the pipe. So 2 minutes, get this back together, and we'll get it back on the bike. Right, there she is today, all together, and that's the sort of position it sits in on the bike. So we'll get that back on now, and just need to remember to put that little spacer in with for the enrichment cable, choke cable, really. Right, there's the little carb all back on. So the next thing we'll do is we'll take the small foot plate off the front here, and we can check the pedal chain, which feels a bit lumpy, and we'll also see if we can strip that surface paint off to reveal the plastic underneath and see what that's like. We'll be a bit careful though, because none of these parts are that readily available unless you buy you know, another one of these as a for spares as a breaker. That some bits you can get that are fairly common, like the main frame if you like, but other bits are scarce. So anyway, let's be careful and see how we get on. Well, you can see I've been busy making a mess. So so the top side was a bit rough, but you can see where the paint that they put on had been chipped. So what I've done is, first of all, scraped it off along here, and the plastic looks a little tiny bit yellowed, but not too bad. And then some on the side here, and you can see maybe underneath originally, maybe it was because they thought the plastic was to tarnish this brown colour, but actually I think it's going to be all right. I mean, there's the underside, that is unpainted. And I think that once we reveal the plastic, you know, a bit of a scrub with, I think, Jif you can use, well, Sif, whatever they call it in these days. But I've also, on another channel, Restoration, seen Astonish used with a toothbrush, and that brings it up. So we'll have a think about that sort of approach with this and see how we get on with it. Going to be a bit more difficult on the top here, but I think we should be able to do that with you know, a careful use of a wire brush or something, because the paint that they've put on it, you know, it does come off pretty easily. There's another area that I've cleaned up there. Man, you can also see here, there's a bit of evidence of overspray of the Everglade green. It looks almost yellowish there, doesn't it? So whether that's, I don't think that's factory, because this would have been put on afterwards. So the frame has been touched up as we thought, but I think in general the green aspect of it is, most of it is fairly original. Right, let's see it, do a bit more work on this and see how we get on. Well, it's a bit laborious, but it's coming on, and underneath it looks fine. I just have to keep reminding myself that I'm not taking the gel coat off fiberglass here. I'm sure I'm not. It's plastics, and I'm sure I've read in several places that the plastics, the white plastics, weren't painted. It's definitely plastic under there. I haven't even cleaned it up yet with Astonish. It's just scraping this bloody thick old rubbish off the top, whatever that was. But it was badly chipped. Well, we're committed now, so I'll keep plugging away this evening and probably tomorrow, and I'll bring you back once I've got all this muck off and giving it a bit of a do with Jif or Sif or whatever they call it these days. Well, there we are. Lots of scraping, cleaning, and a bit of polish later. There's the original plastic underneath a thick coat of horrible paint that scratches very easily. So there's the original plastic finish, and that's what we managed to achieve on the top. Did it very carefully initially. I wasn't sure whether I was going to get these ridges back, but we've managed it. So yeah, really pleased with that. There you go. Look at it all. It's horrible. Right, what you see in the background here as well is I've taken its headlight off because so it's very yellow and tarnished. Rusty at the back here. Clip. Well, not a clip. I'm not sure what that is broken at the top, but these are readily available still. I think they were mounted on other makes of moped as well. Batavis, I think, is one of them. So we've put that on, and there it is, absolutely identical, brand new, same terminals, everything, fantastic. And then where that little foot plate goes is down here, and there's the chain you can see, and although it feels a bit ratchety, then that's because there's a tensioner on it, and the chain itself is oiled up and in good condition. So that's great. Don't think you can quite see the torsion bars there. Not quite sure whether they're adjustable yet, but they are adjustable anyway. But we've no problem with this at the moment because it stands up straight on its own, which it's supposed to. So we've got the carb on. We've checked this out. Just done a practice clean on the plastics. It was tough work. I don't know whether I'm going to attempt any other areas because they're quite big. And they're in pretty good condition at the moment, so I might just leave them. So I think next thing on the final prep jobs before we give it another test run is to lift the bonnet and clean up the engine and engine bay with a bit of degreaser. So let's get on with that now. Right, gunk and water ready to go. There's the before. It's not bad in there, it's just grimy. Hasn't been cleaned for a while. So we'll see how much we can get off with that, with the old gunk and hot water. There we go. After a clean, degrease, wash and a bit of buffing up, got pretty well. engine can do with a bit more work. Probably hasn't been cleaned in its life. And you remember me mentioning there's a cover missing here off the alternator side, maybe the other side too. Anyway, I've managed to source one of those in the US, so that's on its way. Almost shiny now. Right, back together. Time for a quick drive test. Right, here she is, all ready to go. A few days later, I've done a bit of maintenance on her, oiled the cables, checked the tyre pressures, adjusted the cables where necessary. All the cables route through here, as you can see, and you can remove that cover, and all the cable adjusters are inside there, so that's easy enough to do. And in the last few days, managed to get the taxation class on her changed to historic, so it doesn't need an MOT and is now taxed. So let's give her a test. Well, there you go. She runs after a bit of pedaling with a choke. Took a bit of a while to get her to fire up, and she needed a bit of choke at the start, but once she was warmed up, she was fine. So that bodes well then for future videos when we'll do some road tests, etc. I don't know if I mentioned it, but yeah, I've got it, it's all road legal. Now it's on historic. It's there's one or two rattles from the back. I'm not sure, you know, whether they're a feature or whether it's something that's a bit loose on this, so I'll just have a look at those, but we'll save that for a future video, and we'll leave it there for now. So thanks for watching, everybody, as usual. Thanks for subscriptions and comments and Anyone's interest as always. And I'll see you all again soon. And perhaps one day we'll get on to the next real projects rather than this interim one. Cheers everybody. Bye bye.